What's going on, guys? Max here for slurv.com, and happy Friday. Today we have a 14-game night slate, um, which is good. That's a lot of games. And don't forget to join us for an expert chat at 5 p.m. Eastern. So let's jump into the plays. Um, Thor is by far the best pitching option on the slate today. On DraftKings, he's at 12-1, which is like 1K cheaper than he really should be in this matchup. Marlins have a bunch of guys hurt. Stanton just came back. Yelich came back, but Dietrich is still out. And their lineup is just not that imposing. His ERA is under 2. His SIERA is 2.18, and his strikeout rate is 32%. So that's basically all I need to say about Thor. His ownership is going to be really high. So if you want to fade him in tournaments, you can try it. I'm not going to. I am going to have 100% Thor tonight. Cueto, no thanks. Cardinals are too good in offense, and Cueto's K percentage is nowhere near where it should be for the price tag of 12.8K on DraftKings. Moving down the list, Nelson is also overpriced and is not nearly as good as his numbers suggest this year. Tehran is someone we like at home and against a right-hand heavy lineup. This is the opposite scenario, so I actually like Dodger lefty bats against him today. David Price is very interesting at this price. What scares me, however, is his K numbers have been down on last 2-3 starts, and Tirana only strikes out at a 21% versus left-handed pitchers. They also walk almost 9% of the time, which is suboptimal for lefties going against them. Their ISO was insane against lefties last year. It's not nearly as high this year, but the game is at Fenway, and games at Fenway can always turn into a shootout. So there is inherent risk on that. Velasquez will no doubt be popular today. Brewers do strike out a ton against right-handed pitchers, but the problem is that according to StatCast data, Milwaukee is actually pretty good against high fastballs. And that is basically all that Velasquez throws at this point in his career. He throws 65% fastball and 20% cutter, which is a bit slower than his fastball with more movement, but still a variant of the fastball. So while I think many people will flock that way, I'm going to recommend caution. Maeda is interesting against Atlanta. Only problem is the Dodgers like to yank him after like 80 pitches. He hasn't thrown more than 104 pitches the whole season. So from the fantasy standpoint, it just really curbs his upside. So I don't know if I'm going to look at Maeda today. My favorite options are in the 8K range. Palm, Salazar, and Tillman. Palm is a strikeout-happy lefty facing Colorado at home at Petco. I know there's been an insane amount of runs at Petco lately, but I'm going to treat that as an aberration. I don't expect it to turn into the next Coors Field or anything like that. So I really, really like Palm against the Rockies today. They tend to struggle against in their first game away from Coors also, which is an added benefit. Salazar has a scary matchup against KC, but really, if you look at it on paper, he doesn't. The only guys that hit him well in that lineup are Hosmer and Kane. Hosmer also strikes out a ton against pitches that Salazar throws. So the only problem is that they've destroyed pretty good pitchers in Archer, Carrasco, and Smiley in their last 3 starts. So while they're throwing out a bunch of role players to fill in for their injured starters, they are still doing really, really well on offense. So I'm going to be on Salazar quite a bit, I think. He's a good GPP play in the sense that if he's on, he's going to shut him down. If he's not on, he's going to walk a bunch of guys, and that is what's going to hurt him. Tillman has owned the Yankees in his career, And he's way better now than he was back then, and the Yankees lineup is way worse now than it was back then. So his K percentage is 23%, which is a career high this year. So I really like him against the AAA Yankee lineup today. Lastly, let's talk about Walker. He's only 5,900. He's about 3K lower than where he was a few weeks ago, but he's struggling a little bit since he came back from the injury, his neck injury. So in all honesty, I don't know if we need the price savings today. There aren't that many hitters that I want to pay up for. So I don't know if I'm going to go down to Walker, but I do consider him a viable option today. Let's go on to the stacks. Baltimore is really good at hitting fastballs. So I do not mind them against Eovaldi today. The problem is that if the Yanks have the lead and they don't get to Eovaldi earlier, they're going to bring in Betances, Miller, and Chapman to close the game out. So the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning is pretty much dead if the Yankees have the lead, as Detroit saw yesterday. So I really just think that there's limited upside in Baltimore today. If they do get Eovaldi early, I do expect them to score a bunch of runs, however. Pirates are going against Jared Weaver. He of the minuscule 20% ground ball rate. Problem here is that Pittsburgh ballpark is built for containing fly balls. So unless they hit something extremely hard, it will stay in the yard, which is bad. I do believe that some of Weaver's beer league softball pitchers are going to get hit over the wall today. So if you're going to stack Pittsburgh, I suggest a full stack here, because even if they don't hit home runs, they can hit a bunch of doubles and singles and provide upside in that sort of sense. I absolutely love the Tiger stack today. I think they will be underowned as they have underperformed recently, and they have not been good versus left-handed pitching all year. However, they're facing Rodon, which is the perfect spot for them to go off due to the fact that he walks a ton of people and gets hit by righties pretty hard. Thus, I recommend the Detroit stack today. Boston is going to be the chalk of the day, but I really don't think you need to fade them either, as I believe ownership is going to be pretty spread out. So if you want to go here, by all means, I'm not going to stop you. I do think there are better spots than Boston today. So, but I do think Boston is probably in my top 5 stacks. Mets power, lefties versus Kohler in a good spot. Conforto, Granson, Walker, Cespedes are usual suspects. They could hit a couple bombs today. Nationals are going to have an interesting lineup today with Harper hurt and Zim out on paternity leave. I think we can find some value in this lineup to go along with the usual suspects in Worth, Ramos, Rendon, and Steve's favorite, Danny Espinosa. They've been crushing left-handed pitching lately, and I don't expect that to stop today. I think Oakland makes for a sneaky stack at a favorable ballpark today against the pitcher that doesn't strike anybody out. As long as they don't hit the ball right at people, they should do really well. On the other side, you have Houston, which is in the same boat. Jesse Hahn has a 6% swinging strike rate this year, which is not very good. So go ahead and get some hitters from both teams in your lineups tonight. Last but not least, we have Padres facing another lefty. Don't forget Rosales is part of the wraparound stack here. I love that. If he's sitting in the 8 hole again, I'm going to be all in on that guy as he hits the ball really hard against southpaws. Dodgers lefties versus Tehran will be criminally underowned, and I think a couple can go yard here also. Jock and Seager are probably my favorites there. Remember, we have a live chat tonight, so stop in and ask us whatever questions you may like. See you all later. Peace.